Hello, everyone. We've often disassociated ourselves from what lies below the ocean's surface. It's a world that seems so unknown and out of our reach after all. But in reality, we have never been more involved with the oceans than we are in the world of today. It's a shame to say that our impacts have been more negative than not, resulting in ocean acidification, rising sea levels, more than 10 million tons of plastic entering the oceans every year, and the loss of over 52% of all known marine biodiversity in the last 40 years. So why is this important? Well, because our seemingly different worlds are a lot more interconnected than we might think. In the last 2 years here at TGS, many of my projects have revolved around being in the oceans as much as possible. You can say I'm the type of person that likes to get over-involved with the world below the waves. Sorry about that. In the world below the waves. Once again. Okay. I kid you not when I say I went as far as scavenging for any opportunities to explore the aquatic wonders that many of our host countries had to offer, thanks to the freedom of our Changemaker curriculum. Considering I'm standing on the stage talking about it, I must have done some pretty cool things, but it all started somewhere. I could say that somewhere for me was when I was 12, taking the first leap of faith off a boat with my scuba gear on. But let me fast forward a few years into the future to last year, in the aquarium of the biggest mall in the world. Where else would that be if not Dubai? My initial motivations were quite simple. I'm an avid shark enthusiast and have wanted to swim with them for the longest time. So I told myself, what better opportunity than to dive headfirst in an aquarium with over 400? And so I did. Well, it was that easy if you omit all the logistics behind it, but for the sake of this talk, I will be omitting them. I remember resurfacing from that dive and knowing that this was going to be the trademark of my projects at TGS. And little did I know that this fun little passion would bring me to so many great things. Through this academic year, I pursued my insatiable curiosity for the wild, wet world in Oman and Malaysia through different approaches for each. I was on the island of Borneo for 2 months. I was definitely going to explore its amazing biodiversity of endemic species. So, as a joint project with another student, Sipo Kazi, we use GIS technology to map out the coral reefs and their dominant biodiversity of an island off the coast of Kota Kinabalu, our host city. I soon came to realize that the biodiversity haven I dreamt of was at risk of being damaged beyond repair from global warming, pollution, and unsustainable fishery practices. And what I thought was a simple project was actually contributing to identifying surviving marine population demographics. It was my first time using scuba diving for conservation, using the sport that I love so much as a tool to collect data for a greater environmental whole, opened my eyes to the potentials I have as a diver. Last term in Oman, my diving was for a personal achievement, as I was advanced enough in my career to get my rescue and master diver certifications. So I dove with those intentions in mind and got certified right after term. The following clip that I will play, I wanted to keep as a memento to my initial scuba diving motivations at TGS. These are large female bull sharks that I dove with off the coast of Tulum a few months ago. It was one of the biggest pivotal moments in my dive career where I was reminded why I do this, why I fell in love with the oceans in the first place. But these projects didn't only fill out my dive logs and my camera roll with really cool videos. They've allowed me to experience the reality of marine coastal systems across the globe and learn about the issues that their biodiversity hubs face. 1 second. Right. I've had the chance to meet amazing divers and environmentalists and conservationists through the international dive community who share similar passions than me and are part of local conservation efforts. It's broadened my outlook on the interconnectedness of issues that affect marine ecosystems worldwide. Diving is not just about breathing in an environment where you shouldn't and looking at fish doing their thing. It's so much more than that. It's learning about issues that affect marine ecosystems and being part of a community that's taking active action for these issues. It's becoming a more aware diver and person when it comes to the environment and making small life changes to become more sustainable. Diving in and out of TGS has definitely led me a step closer to being that type of individual, which is the type that I want to be. As a future student in an environmental field, these experiences have been extremely valuable in shaping the way that I want to tackle these issues. Turning your passions into projects is very hard and can be very intimidating. Scuba projects have taught me all about that. But if there's also one thing I've learned, is that taking the leap of faith like I did when I was 12, it pays off. In my case, I've learned to dive with a greater purpose than just being mesmerized by what I see underwater. I dive for conservation, I dive for environmentalism and sustainability. I dive for an ocean with more fish than plastic in it. So think about it. If you take that leap, what will you dive for? Thank you.